Hey everybody, how you doing? I like that. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here today. Before I begin, I want to just let you know my name is Stuart Schlossman. I too have MS. Long saga on that. You want to know about it? You'll see me later on, all right? But right now, we need to get started with this program. So for today, though, I want to thank Sanofi-Genzyme. Hope that you all as well. They gave us the grant to do today's program. Clap! Come on, I want to hear it. You don't have to be announced. We don't got to do it like that. It's going to be like a revival here today, all right? Let's welcome Jeff. Jeff is a recipient of 2007 National Strength and Conditioning Association Award. He's Personal Trainer of the Year Award. He's authored articles for numerous MS publications, in addition to others such as Shape Magazine. He's the owner of Balance Personal Training. He started that in 2004. He's the national motivational and education. He is a national and motivational educational speaker. He's a graduate of Florida State University. He's a person living with multiple sclerosis since 1998. And Jeff, he was just diagnosed 3 months in front of me, and I just got to welcome him up here, and I hope you all do too. He's trying to make his way up. Come on up, Jeff. Thank you. Show off. He doesn't need the stairs. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Stuart. How are you guys doing today? All right, so you know the topic of today. I'm going to talk about exercise and about lifestyles and fatigue and all that type of stuff that we all experience with MS. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to nip fatigue in the butt. All right? How many people in here experience fatigue? How many people in here were children? Come on, you better raise your hand. When you were a child, did you play outside? Do you remember ever being tired when you were playing outside as a child? No, you don't. It's not because you were younger, it's because you did it every day and you practiced. And it was conditioning. And you did it every single day. And if you took a break, it was probably because you were sick or the weather was bad or something along those lines. MS fatigue, totally different. It's like opening up a hot oven and the heat just coming in your face and just paralyzing you. But just because you have MS does not mean that the fatigue is from MS. It's very important to know that, because you take a group of adults in the same age range that we're in here and you ask them if they get tired, they're going to say yes, because this is a country filled with deconditioned people. People that sit behind a computer, that sit in their rooms, watch television, that sit waiting for something that they ordered to come to them. That's way too easy. It wasn't supposed to be that easy. So then what happens is when they have to go climb a flight of stairs, which is normal for the average person to be able to do, they're tired. And if you have MS and you look back at it, then you have this little thing called, I have MS and I've got fatigue. It must be there must be a correlation. It's not always because of your MS. But if you do have MS fatigue, what you ought to do is find the time of day that you have the most energy to do something more than you usually do. That's how we get stronger. That's how we get more conditioned. That's how we get to live our lives the way we want to live them and share that with other people. To me, the diagnosis of MS, I was already in shape. I already had, I was a strong guy. But every time I was told that I had MS, that was a better reason for me to be in shape than anything else that I've ever been a part of in my life, including playing at a high level in football, being an all-state football player in Florida. I mean, those were things that I had accomplished, but when I was told I had MS, bam, I wanted to do more. I said, I'm going to do more while I can. And the more I did, the more I was able to do, and it was basically left me here. You know, there's been a time that I was down and out and I wasn't able to stand or walk or talk or see. You know, I was just kind of there. I mean, a lot of you have experienced that. But I didn't give up. That was the last thing on my mind. Every morning that I got up, whether I fell on my face, on my shoulder, or something, I attempted to get out of bed and stand and walk every single day until my whole upper body was bruised because my closet was a mess. Finally, the day came when I put a comforter in my closet. That way I didn't have anything to fall into. It was soft. So I planned that way. But you know what? Where you are right now is temporary. You're going to be somewhere else tomorrow and the next day, but if you do it right, these places that you're going and the things that you're going to be doing, it's going to be a lot easier because you're going to condition yourself. And it doesn't mean, and this is the biggest problem that people have, whether you have MS or not, everybody's out of shape out there. I mean, it drives me nuts because of the profession I'm in. But if you ask people why they don't do it, what do you hear? The first thing that comes to mind is what you used to be able to do. How many people in here are thinking, wow, I would exercise, but I used to be able to do this for this long, and I can't now, so I'm not going to. Or I don't know how to. What do I do? You start. You start from scratch. It's simple. You start from scratch. It's like cooking. You have one ingredient, you got to use the ingredient. You add a little bit and you add a little bit. You don't throw it all together and turn the oven on, or else you get a big mess, right? Well, that's what happens if you go back into the gym right now and start where you left off the last time. Because if it wasn't the last time, it was whenever it was probably when you were in the best shape of your life. And you're going to compare yourselves today to where you were at the best of your whole entire life. What you got to start thinking about is what got you there. How much you had to do and how much practice it took and how much conditioning, and it's hard work. As a child, you don't think of it as hard work though. As a child, it's just play. And then comes adulthood. All of a sudden you're an adult, and play and being an adult doesn't mix. But it can. It's because you choose for it not to. And we have choices. We got so many choices every day. I mean, if you can't make it to the mailbox and back, what about halfway? You know, just a little bit more every day. That's what physical fitness is. Physical fitness is the ability to do more with yourselves on a daily basis and gradually get stronger and more conditioned while still having enough energy to meet emergency needs. That's basically the definition of physical fitness. And when fear gets put in between it, forget it. Fear can be your ally. If you're afraid to do something and you do it, you've just accomplished something. Every day when you wake up in the morning, there should be at least one thing that you say, I'm going to do this today. No matter what, this is going to get done. It doesn't matter if it's something simple or something difficult, or if it's got a whole bunch of stuff combined. It doesn't matter if that one thing is the ride to the gym, the ride on the way back to the health food store, the ride, doing a bunch of things that you know you're able to do, and then list a couple of things that are a little far-fetched. Because if you do those, the next day, better watch out. You're going to do a lot. Those are some things that people, if you wake up without a goal or without something that you want to do, you're aimless. Okay? And chances are you won't do anything. And then you won't think about anything. And the more that you do, it's true, the more you do, the more you'll be able to do. And the more you'll want to do it. And you'll want to tell your friends about it, and maybe they'll do it. So what if you are the person with MS and your friend's not doing anything, but you're going to the gym and you're getting in better shape? That's what happened with me. I was like getting in better shape and losing weight. I don't want to be as thin as I am today, but I'd rather be as thin as I am than on the contrary. I was almost 100 pounds more than I am right now at one time. I slowly lost the weight. If I lost a pound in a week, great. I don't know. I didn't weigh myself. To me, weighing yourself is a big problem when it comes to weight loss, because if you're doing it the right way, a pound of muscle takes up a lot less space than a pound of fat. So if you're burning fat and you're building muscle, you could be staying the same weight. In fact, I talked to someone recently about this. They were upset because they plateaued. And when they plateaued, they had already lost a lot of weight. They were still going to the gym. They were doing a lot. They were doing this, that, eating very healthy foods. You can eat very healthy foods, and you can still eat too much of them. But that wasn't the case with this person, I don't believe. I believe that what was happening was she was putting muscle on. She was burning fat. She would weigh herself. She was staying the same weight. Her body composition was changing. Her body fat percentage and lean body mass were going in the right directions. So what this person had said was, but I measured my waist, and my waist wasn't getting smaller. Okay, you measured your waist. Do you know how many things you can measure in your body to find out your weight? When I do body fat testing, I use 7 sites. That is to show that some areas of your body are not losing body fat while others are. You're still losing body fat. That's the key. Body fat, not body weight. Because I can just stop drinking water and get really good results on the scale, but I don't want to be dehydrated, which is another big problem. When it comes to fatigue, how many people in here feel they're dehydrated? How many people in here are afraid to say that that they're dehydrated? How many people in here sit behind a computer for more than 2 hours at a time during the day? Wow, this is like a miracle room. You guys are the elite. Well, if you sit too long at a computer, you're A, getting deconditioned, getting tight, possible spasticity can come up. You're dehydrated because you're not drinking, and if you were, you'd leave to go to the bathroom, right? So these are little things that you can do. The more you drink, the more you're going to get up, the more you're going to move, because you have to. So physical fitness is a state of well-being. It's the same thing as it was when you were a child, and you can get the same results, maybe not, a little bit different, but how many people in here say, well, I can't do it, my metabolism's slow because I'm older, right? Metabolism does not have to correlate to your age. What it does have a correlation to is how much activities you do and the types of foods, what time you eat them, when you eat them, and how much of them you eat. That's what determines your metabolic rate. So the more you do, the more often you eat, and the better food you eat, and the more you space them out and have, I eat 6 meals in a day. I could probably say that if I eat less than 4,000 calories in a day, I'm going to lose weight. That's not easy. Today this morning I flew here. How many of you have Fitbits track your steps or that kind of stuff? I flew here. I haven't worked out today. I took the day off. And I've got 13,000 steps right now. And I got, 20 flights of stairs. Because I don't like waiting for the elevator here. It's wasting time. It's not, if you can take an elevator, take an elevator. Don't take the easy way out all the time. It's fun taking the elevator. You can play games in the elevator, skip steps one at a time, how fast you're going to go up. But exercise really is, it's a part of everything you're doing. It helps with your balance. How many people in here have balance problems? It helps with, helps with your stability. To me, stability comes before balance. If you can't stand like this, then I wouldn't ask you to do this. You know what, this is good for the doctor's appointment because they're measuring your balance. But outside of there, work on this before you work on your balance. There's progressions there, to maybe here, to wow, and then time yourself, maybe if you count backwards, count forwards, whatever, and then try to beat it. And what happens is your body's neurologically adapting to a position that you're in. That's what muscle memory is. It's neural adaptations that you've already done. You've already adapted to the movements. Once you get the movement right, your strength increases. Your absolute strength, is that for me? No one knows I'm in here right now. But that's for absolute strength. If you're not able to get into a ready position and stay there, you got to work on it. Some things as simple. How many people in here can't do a squat? You can't? Okay. How are you going to get out of that chair? You can stand up, right? So if you did that and you sat back down, did it again, and you did 2 squats. It's the way you think about it. Squatting is so important because if you can, now a deep squat would be down to about here. Now I wouldn't say someone should go ahead and just start out by doing that, but if you were to have a table that was say about this high and you sit here and stand, sit here and stand, then find a table that's a little bit lower, go to here and stand, and then here and stand. Now you're doing an Olympic squat, you're going all the way down. It's not that hard. It's something that you're able to do that you don't think you can do, so you're passing on it. Squats, to do that with a load, carrying weight, your body has to balance and stabilize. You're using your core, you're using your big muscles. This is the biggest muscle you got. If you're not using this properly, you should be. It's important. It's there for a reason. Your gluteus maximus. It says it all in its name, right? So aside from a cushion, it's important to use that to stand up, because that's the last part of the standing motion is, here and up. That's all in the glutes. Other things that exercise can do is improve abilities to perform your ADLs, your activities of daily living. That's important. If you're working out in the gym and you're just using weights and you're sticking to a machine and the machine's in a fixed plane and you're locked into the machine, what you're doing is you're getting better at working at that machine. I don't know if that's going to transfer outside of the gym, but if you do stuff that mimics what you do on a daily basis, then you become better because of specificity. If you do something with your feet on the ground or your body not supported, you're working your core. So if you sit down and your back's not against the back of the chair and you have to turn or do anything, your core is keeping you from falling out of the chair. And I haven't seen anybody in the room fall out of the chair yet. Not today, at least. Yeah, well, I'll help you guys fall out of the chair. I'll also help you get up. So the other things is recovery time. One of the other things that people are afraid of when they exercise is how sore they're going to be. That goes back to what I said before, because you're going to get really sore if you really overdo it. Your body has a mechanism called DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, which happens, can occur for, it presents itself 24 to 72 hours after you're doing resistance exercise. That's the soreness that you get. That's your body telling you, hey, don't do it so quick. Relax a little bit. Don't, you can walk it off. You can do some exercise to loosen up the muscles, but that's your body's saying, hey, this hurts. You may have overdone it, or wait an extra day to do it again. But that goes back to when you go back to a gym and you try to do the things that you used to be able to do. You got to start slow. When you were in phys ed and they told you to do a push-up for the very first time, you didn't even think in your head, I'm going to do 20. You just thought, what am I going to do? That's how things are going to be when you start an exercise program again. It's not going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to get your foot in the gym. That's the toughest thing to do, to start. Without starting, you can't finish. There's no finishing something you didn't start. So baby steps, little things at a time. Make sure that whatever you do when you're planning things, that your next move is your best move. Okay? Plan it. Do it. Try to make sure it's the best for right now. And that's another thing that we fall back on and we have problems with is you don't have to be the best you ever were. You have to be the best you can be right now. All the time. That's living in the now. That's doing. That's getting things accomplished. Right? Those are you just got to do it. Nike, just do it. Best thing. I mean, MS is fierce. Right? How many people believe that? You can be more fierce than your MS. You don't have to fight it. Fighting MS takes up too much energy. Live your life. People say, I'm beating MS, I'm fighting MS. I don't care about MS. I live my life healthy. I live it just like I was taught as a child. When you guys were children, little, or when you're a parent and your children were really little, you were giving them the tools to live their life in a healthy way. Your teachers were. You were eating 5-6 meals a day as a child. Why'd you stop? Ask yourself, why did you stop? And I hope it's not because your mom stopped feeding you. Because that's what happens is our metabolisms are through the roof when we're kids. We're eating before we go to school. We're eating on a break. We're eating at lunch. We're eating again when we get home for a snack. After the snack, we have dinner. That's if our parents can bring us inside the house from playing outside and running around, sprinting, without getting tired. And then you have a snack after dinner. That's 6-7 meals in a day. Okay? That should continue. That should go on and on and on. I mean, when you're an infant, it's almost that the parents go back to that because they don't want to hear the child cry. Well, they're crying because they're not eating enough, or as often. The longer you wait between meals, the more your body's going to want to hold on to the nutrients, which equals holding on to it where? Here. You don't want, whatever you don't use as energy turns to fat, whether it be a fat, whether it be a carbohydrate, whether it be a protein. Proteins and carbohydrates each have 4 calories per gram. Fat has 9. Alcohol has a little bit more than 7. So when you're having a few extra drinks, remember at the end of the day, if you wonder, well, I ate really healthy and I had 4 drinks last night, that's like having a couple spoons of lard. Add that lard, just spoon it in. After 4 or 5 drinks, have a little bit more. Sorry, I know you guys are eating. But that's what happens. People don't realize that you're poisoning yourself. You can poison yourself in moderation, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. Just don't overdo it. If you have a strategy, if you have a plan, if it's strategic, then you're going to get things done the way you want them done. When you go to the gym, if you have a plan when you're at the gym, or if you're going to work out at home, I like working out at home. You know why? Because I can. Because I know I'll do it. Or I'll work out with my clients. Or I'll work out at my home and with all my clients. I was having somebody do an exercise a couple days ago. They didn't know why they were doing it. I explain the reasons for the things I do. They were pushing me from one end of the gym to the other with one hand. Their rule is they can't lean forward, they have to stand upright, and I'm holding them and I'm walking against them, and they're pushing as hard as they can. And they asked me, how do you do that? How come I'm out of breath? They ask me that all the time. Why am I out of breath? You're fine. I said, because if I was out of breath, I'd be out of a job too. But because I do it all day. So if I have 4 people that I'm working with and I happen to have 3 of them do that exercise, I'm working out. I'm putting the time in. I'm getting myself conditioned. I'm not withering away and saying maybe next time. So as a social part of it, exercise is important too for friendships, doing a little bit more with other people. You know, raising the bar. What's potential? You will never know your potential if you don't reach for it. And when you hit it, it's going to rise. And then you can do a little bit more and a little bit more. And you know what happens after a while? Same thing I was saying before. You become in shape. Then, when it comes to the fatigue part, and you get really fatigued and you're in shape, then you got a better you got a better reason to say, hey, that might be my MS. You know, and when it is, okay, you talk to your doctor about it. But remember, I know from experience, there's certain times of the day that I'm just more tired. Well, those happen to be the times that I am not going to work out because I would fail miserably. Failing is not all that bad. But if you fail at the same thing twice for the same reason, then you got to take a step back and be a little more prepared and try a little bit, something a little bit different. Life's not going to be on a straight line. Life is a winding road. If you go on that straight line, you're going to get lost more so than if you take that winding road and go wherever you were going to go. Other things that physical fitness and exercise can help is in addition to reducing fatigue, comorbidities. You know what comorbidities are? Comorbidities are the things that you have when you say you're sick and it's not MS. Well, those things can happen from being deconditioned, from having a bad diet, from a bunch of things, genetics, whatever else. But when you go see your neurologist, what do you want to talk to him about? You want to talk to him about MS? You're going to a neurologist. Is that what you're going to see him for? Or her? Well, good. You're not going there to tell them, well, I also have diabetes, and I have heart disease, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've got the other. And how's that going to affect my MS? And by the time you're at the end of the appointment, you get to talk about the MS. No, you want to get the most out of that doctor's appointment. And the healthiest you can possibly be is the best way to go when it comes to that. Because if you go there and you have, let's say your doctor's giving you 30 minutes, wouldn't you rather have 30 minutes to talk about MS than 27 minutes to talk about every other illness in the dictionary and 3 minutes to talk about MS? It's important. Also, depression and anxiety. How many people experience it? You don't have to say it, but we all have it. If we don't, we're lying to ourselves. You know how to eliminate depression and anxiety completely? Okay, I want to know. I was hoping you guys were going to tell me. Well, that's another thing that exercise can help you with, is reduce anxiety, depression, feeling down, because you're accomplishing something. Obviously, increased strength, better sense of well-being and accomplishment, and spasticity. How many people in here have problems with spasticity? Okay, the more you move in full range of motion, the less spasticity you may have. You know what moving in a full range of motion is also called? Stretching. So whether it be a static stretch, which is to hold a stretch something like this, or whether it be doing an exercise where I'm going to stretch the same muscles I just showed you, but this is that's a reaching lunge. I just stretched every muscle in the back of my leg, used the front of my leg, strength and flexibility were covered with that. And at the end of the day, if I worked out and got my body into its full functional range of motion while exercising, I may not have to stretch statically. Maybe I do. You don't know. Everybody's a little bit different. So some of the other things that I brought a couple of toys up here. How many people in here have seen one of my talks before? Whether I use it or I don't, I always carry a balloon with me. So I'm going to blow it up now just in case I forget to use it or run out of time. Now I know everybody's paying attention. So I planned on not using that balloon today, and what I was going to do next was furniture movers. You know what these are, furniture movers? I have a little bit of time to talk about them, but what they can do is this, or moving forward and back. It's just working on range of motion. I'm working my hip. It's a good way to loosen up. It's also a good way to get into a single-legged squat, but that's going from doing the little bit to the whole 9 yards. And eventually it could be without it. Or doing something like a lunge or a reach. And the bands are great too, because when you use a band, unlike a dumbbell or another free weight, it's horizontal resistance. It's not vertical. So we move horizontally. We move forward. The only times we move up and down is to stand and sit for the most part. Jump, if you can jump. But I like to work out in a forward motion. Put a band, if it's secure, stick it in a doorway, you can do that. You can do a bench press with a band. It's working your front, it's working your core, it's working your chest, it's also working your legs, it's working your balance. Turn around, the exact opposite side of your body is being worked. Same thing goes for any motion. Also, when you pick up something from the ground, you've always been told to bend with what? But why? Knees are stupid. Knees do two things, right? Knees do this and this. And when they do this, knees got to go to the doctor. So, yes, it is helpful for your back. But what basically is going on is we've been told, bend with your knees, bend with your knees. Don't use your back and your glutes. Don't do this kind of motion, which is the motion that you have the most muscles to use. And then what happens is, if you don't bend with your knees, this hasn't been working for so long that you're going to hurt it. And then you're going to think it's because of your knees. You didn't use your knees. No, it's not that. Simple things like bridges on the ground. That's working these muscles. That's the same motion as you do when you're getting up out of a seat. It's the terminal range of motion. It's when you're seated here, so I just say I'm seated, and I come up and I'm bringing my hips forward. That's the same thing as being on the ground and doing that, which can also be that, or the closer you keep your feet to your body, the easier it is, because the shorter the lever arm. The further out, the more difficult. And this can be used as a push-up helper. Want to get into a one-arm push-up in case someone wants to try out for Rocky? I don't know. When I see somebody doing squats and I notice that their knees are coming inward, it could be a neurological thing or a muscular thing or both. Chances are it's both. But what happens is if you were to stand and your knee starts to point in, that's not your knee, that's your hip. That's your external rotators, your hip not being able to maintain a neutral position. So what do you do when that happens? You do something like this. External rotation. I'm pushing off with this leg, externally rotating, pushing off with that leg to externally rotate. When I'm doing a bridge on the ground, like I just showed you, if my knees come apart, I'd put something between my knees to hold it in together to use my adductors. Just simple imbalances that may correct other things that you have going on. If my knees go the other way, my knees come inward, I'd put this around my knees and I'd do the bridges that way, so I'm working my abductors and my glutes. So those are just some simple things. What we're going to do is, MS Views and News has got their learning channel on YouTube. Have any of you ever gone to it? MS Views and News learning channel. It's every program, all these cameras, you get to see what you missed in the next city. And it's a great opportunity for people to see, to find very important information from physicians all over the country, from other experts around the country. And what I do is, I've got plenty of videos on there. I'm working on developing some specific movement videos and some other things, basically based on the feedback that I get from the people in the programs that I'm speaking to. That's how I do what I'm going to do with the next program or do something on the side. So back to doing what I love the most, being exercise. I've probably said it more times in the last 20 minutes than I have in my life. Things that you should try to do is the key words: frequency, intensity, duration, mode, and then last but not least is progression. You've got to have some progression. The more imposed demands your body has, the stronger it gets. So that's an acronym. Specific adaptations to imposed demands. That's how we get stronger. It's like making more money. You want to make money and not do more work? It's not going to work out that way. That's not how life is. That's not how our society is. You want to have more money, you got to work harder. You got to work harder and better than the next person that's going to take that paycheck from you. Nothing comes free. There's no free lunches out there. There's always something behind them. You work hard, you get results that you like. And you can say at the end of the day, today I did what I was set out to do. And remember what I said at the beginning? Remember when I said, wake up with a goal. Wake up with something that you're going to do. And at the end of the day, feel accomplished. Be happy with yourself. Reward yourself for meeting your goals. Otherwise, they just fizzle off. You don't want that. You want better. You want it now. You're not going to get in shape watching me do this stuff. Believe me, if I can make the whole world get in shape by doing stuff up on the stage, do it all day long. But it doesn't work that way. So you guys, I'm challenging you. Whenever I come back here, I want to see some familiar faces in the room, and I want you to tell me, wow, you know what? I went onto that YouTube channel, and I watched some of those things. I listened to what some of the doctors said. I listened to your talks. I saw some things that interested me, and I did them. And guess what? I've accomplished things, and I feel better. I'm a better person today than I was before. That's what's great about these programs. This is as close to it being served on a silver platter as you're going to get. But there's no unicorn that's serving it for you. So, does anybody have any questions? You want to see if I can do a backflip off of here? Please don't ask me to do that. I'll do it, but I'll get hurt. Right here. Wait, hang on 1 second. We're going to ask, when people ask questions, someone's going to bring a mic over. That way, that way I can hear it, because I got bad hearing.
Yes, I've had MS a little bit over 30 years now, and I've been lifting weights about probably a good 20 some odd years. But what I noticed about my weightlifting, when I first started out, I develop muscles pretty quick. Because matter of fact, my wife and I went to a thing of my son's one night, and somebody took a picture of me, and I asked her later, who is that person? Because I didn't even recognize myself at first.
That cool guy.
But right now, you know, I still do pretty good, but it's not like before.
It's hard to answer that. I mean, I can tell you that your nerves send signals. If the nerves aren't giving the muscles the full signals, then you're not doing the full, you're not contracting your muscle the way that it should be contracting. It doesn't mean to stop, but how do you think you would look right now? Because you look pretty fit to me. It doesn't mean that you're not thinking, gosh, but if you only saw me a few years ago. But right now I'm telling you, you look fit, and most people in the room will tell you you look fit. You have to work a little bit harder to be fit. I mean, that's the way it goes. You ever get fit without working hard? You have MS, right? So that might be the reason that you're not getting as buff or whatever it is that you're looking to get. It could be because of that. Or maybe maybe you just want to be like Arnold and your parents weren't Arnold's parents. You know, that's what happens. But you know, you're ahead of the game because you're working out and you're keeping up with it.
Great, thank you. Anybody have any questions? We're going to ask that you all keep it general and not necessarily about yourselves, but because he can't really tell you what is for somebody directly here, okay? She
Okay.
first, and then I'll be to you.
My question is, how do you adapt exercises around the different handicaps that we have?
You do what you can.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, that's a great question. I tried to show you a couple of examples. You know, if you can't do a deep squat, then do a little bit a shallow squat. Do it just to here, which is 100% more than not doing a squat. That's how you adapt. You do the things that you can do. The things you can't do, you throw them away. Throw them away. Then reevaluate as you get in shape and as you get better at what you're doing, and some of those things might have been accomplished. So that's how you adapt, slowly but surely.
Really, I just wanted the website that you said for the exercises. That's all I wanted.
You want what the website is?
The website, yes.
Well, there's a website. It's on YouTube. It's the MS Views and News Learning Channel.
MS Views and News.
Yeah,
Right here. So right here on the jar grabber that you all got is the name of our website. And then you just go to the top left of the page where I showed you before. There's a red banner up there. You click on that banner, okay? Anybody else have a question? Sir,
Any
sir?
questions?
Any questions? Well, then give Jeff a round of applause.
Thank you.
We welcome Jeff to be here.